to the November TriEmbed meeting. Jonathan, have you been to a monthly meeting before?
Yep, I was here last month, I think.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Everybody else appear to be old timers. Let's do announcements. Anything coming up? Anyone want to give a brief report on All Things Open, which was a week or so ago?
It was a show. It was big. I walked around.
What kind of? So there was a show floor, like a show floor.
Yeah, it was on 3 floors, and there were a whole bunch of people selling open source IoT products that I didn't understand, had no idea what they're talking about, but I looked at them and nodded. It was there were a lot of companies that dealt with databasing IoT products.
I thought it was.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say they had the Riot demo night, the first night, or Tuesday night, and it was interesting.
A lot more fun.
Yeah, interesting to find out that I always thought Riot was Raleigh Internet of Things, but it turns out it's no longer just Raleigh and no longer just Internet of Things. They had a lot of startups there that weren't even related, but they had some that were as well.
Yeah, it's done well for itself. I'm impressed. But yeah, that was a hell of a lot more fun than the show. It's I say that the All Things Open. There were a couple companies that I personally was interested in, and I talked to a lot of the tables. It seemed to be a lot of little companies or medium-sized companies that had started in because of the lockdown and had these second and third tier. We do something to something to something type products that were not really that interesting. I mean, IBM was there. Facebook was there. There were a bunch of banks that had open source projects, but they didn't really show any projects. Who else was there? I got a lot of pens.
Okay.
Some bags. I vastly preferred the All Things Open, but that's just me. So it's not a detailed report then, but I hadn't planned on giving a report, so I didn't take any notes.
Go to any of the technical presentations?
No, I don't sit well. I went to the guy in Durham who has the podcast thing. I went to his and didn't learn. He's pushing his product. I can't think of his name at the moment. But it's he does a whole bunch of the cell phone stuff, and he had like 12 rules for internet for IoT, and that's the only one that I actually attended. Although I was there for quite a time.
And then last Wednesday was PCB Carolina at the McKinnon Center. I was there. I saw Nick there. Anyone else go?
Pete and some of the people focused on the Edger project were there.
Right.
It was, I guess I'm feeling a little more hardware inclined. It was interesting.
Okay.
I went. I was there for a
walked-
bit.
Okay. I walked around the show floor. Very similar to previous years, I thought. Had a good lunch.
Yep.
Got
Good
a lot of
lunch.
pens, few bags, some candy bars.
And more pens.
Did anybody win the TV or TVs?
I-
I'm sure someone did.
I didn't.
I don't think
You
they.
had to wait around.
Yeah, till 4, right?
Yeah, or 4:30. Some it was late.
I couldn't stay that late.
Right. Right.
It was
Any other thoughts about it now?
it was pleasantly crowded. In the past couple of years, it's been a lot less crowded, and pretty much everyone I talked to commented how there was a lot more activity at this one, which I guess is a good sign.
Yeah. Okay.
There was nothing greatly innovative. Some nice pens.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the problem of the month. I don't have anything to share as far as PowerPoint, so I'll just describe the issue. So I play pickleball, and I would like to make a pickleball score device. Let's call it a device. There'll be a display with some numbers that sits on the side of the court. Pickleball scoring is notoriously difficult for beginners to understand. And whenever I'm interrupted, like I want to make some comments to some people about the play on that point. By the time I've done that, I can't remember what the score was. So I'm going to have a score device. There's not going to be a score keeper. So I have to be able to advance the score properly. And so I need two buttons. One which says that the serving team scored the point. And let's not call them buttons. Let's say I need two pieces of information. Either the serving team scored a point or the serving team did not score a point. And then I'm probably also going to need something to walk back the score in case I press the wrong button or something. So think of it as like three pieces of information. Yes, the scoring team scored a point. No, the serving team did not score a point, and go backwards or start a new game, or there's some things like that. I don't want to have to carry a bunch of devices, so it would be kind of cool if it was attached to the bottom of the handle of my pickleball racket. So that's one of the things that I'm carrying around as I'm playing. There could be similar buttons on more than one player. It's got to run on batteries and talk to some kind of Wi-Fi thing, I would think. run for a couple of hours without running out of batteries. So any ideas on how I could design something like this?
I have some rectangular LED sheets with addressable LEDs on. You could make a something out of that.
Sounds nice. So what size of an array of, looks like an array, a matrix of LEDs?
Yeah, I think they're probably. I've got one that's
8 by 8 or something?
It's maybe 16 by. It's probably 256, so it's probably 16 by 16. I think I have one that's like 8 by 32, a long one. But they and it's flexible, so it can, you don't want to flex it, but you can kind of roll it up. It I don't know what each LED. If you just used one color, you've got 20 mils per LED. So if you could run it on one of those little rechargeable battery things, fairly big, but you could run it for a while. Yeah.
I'm not worried about the power in the display that's on the side of the court as I am about the device that I'm carrying around with me.
Well, infrared is out, but cell phone, you could construct something fairly simple out of an ESP, or any one of things, and a couple buttons.
You just put an access point on your sidelines device and
Yep.
have your handheld join it.
I've been meaning to code LEDs into the as one of the things in the Edger thing. I've got plenty of them, obviously, and I'll keep you. I need them for something else, so I can take a look at what I have for sheets. I've got most of what I have are discs, but as I do have some sheets somewhere.
Okay, would you imagine
sort of
that
like it's sort of like tennis, isn't it?
yeah, or ping pong or one of those things. Only the serving team can score points. The tricky thing is if you don't score a point, who serves next, and then just the fact that you have to remember two numbers for more than 20 seconds is an issue for some people.
What did you say? Two numbers for more than 20. Oh, remembering two numbers for more than 20 seconds.
Or just remembering what he just said.
Yeah, I had a problem with that one.
Yeah. So how would you power an E8266 talking Wi-Fi for 3 hours?
Well, it only needs to work when you hit a button. So you go into standby interrupt mode. When the button gets pressed, it wakes up, sends out a blip, and I don't know whether you can see the two things I have there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see those.
Okay, I mean they're both addressable. The long one is must be 8 by 32. They're pretty easy to they're pretty easy to drive.
All right.
So that's a good point, right? You can.
I was thinking of getting a strip of, multicolor, addressable LEDs and make like 7-segment
Yep.
pattern out of the strip.
I
don't
did that
think I
for
need-
my Christmas light display and plugged them into. I got them from that guy Adam, I think his name was it a while back on here. Did a big buy from China or something, and
Right.
I got them these fairly large ones, and I put them into chicken wire. So just like put some chicken wire on a frame and sort of screwed them in the matrix using the chicken wire to hold the lights. I just put
Okay.
little things across it, holiday stuff.
Did you use his hardware for driving them, or?
No, I used the Teensy, and they have a Teensy. There's like an LED that has two RJ, whatever the Ethernet jack RJ is, 45. Yeah, and then you use the wires from that and to run multiple different strands.
Okay. Do you remember what voltage it was?
What voltage the LEDs were, or?
5.
Yeah, it's 5 volt. The little they were WS2812, I think, or maybe I forget the other one that's kind of like it. So they each had a little, I guess, the whatever resistors or whatever they need in it, along with the controller that does the RGB.
Right.
That's, I mean, the one I'm looking at on Amazon it's expensive. It's all of $20.
An actual matrix already built. Yeah, I noticed they're a lot cheaper since when I made that.
Yep. An 8x32 is, oh God, it's $20.99. Delivered tomorrow.
I see $20.99, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are Ada Fruit has a library that drives it, and there's one called Fast LED. They're pretty easy to drive, pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't anticipate doing any animations. The programming speed's probably not a big issue.
Oh, you'll animate it and have it do flash different colors when someone scores a point. But yeah, they're cheap enough, and that would I mean, Bluetooth, anything that would send out a signal, and there are Raspberry Pi libraries available for them, so you could run the whole thing on a Pi, which means you can work in Python, and that'll kind of roll off the tongue.
I guess you could use Bluetooth or Bluetooth Low Energy, right?
Yep.
I mean, that might be easier to wake up and do something than like Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi mesh should wake up fairly easily, but Bluetooth low energy. I mean, yeah, a Raspberry Pi, just a Python handler that takes the message in, says, make the numbers big. It's worth spending the $20 to get one of them, and you'd have it running in a couple hours, I'm sure.
I'm thinking not putting it on your handle of your racket though. Like, to me, I say put it in your pocket.
All right.
It seems like there's too much impact and stuff, right?
Could be, and sometimes it gets dropped.
Yeah.
Sometimes thrown.
Sometimes thrown. So how would you I mean, I wouldn't want to have to pull something out of my pocket and figure out which button I want to press. And so how can I make some tactile something so I know how to advance the score properly?
If you got real happy, you could do it with a Bluetooth headset or an earpiece. That I don't know, that would fall out while you're running around. But just say the score. Doing the voice recognition on a Raspberry Pi would be, would take you a little bit of time, but that's not difficult.
That's an interesting thought. Okay.
I got an idea for you. Actually, this kind of flows into the all things open. I went to this talk by a guy that is this finally the the year living the hashtag Pine life? Is this finally the year of Linux on the mobile phone? And they have he uses Linux Pine phone, but he also mentioned this Pine Time smartwatch. It was like $26. So and I think
Yeah,
it got what's that?
there are a couple of those out there. Yeah, they're in that price range. Yes.
You could have it on your wrist. You could write an app that's sitting there and just tap whatever you want to tap.
Time hack.
Lily Gogo makes one.
Free open source smartwatch. Where do you buy these things?
I think there's not on pine64.com, or they just don't have them available. No. Oh yeah, the sealed one is there.
$26.99. Sealed device is more difficult.
There may be others. This was again the one that I just happened to hear of while listening to something else, but there may be some other similar kind of things. They have a dev kit too, but it doesn't look like the dev kit is currently available. Oh yeah, out of stock.
One dev kit. Here's a dev kit twin pack. $51.98. One sealed one and one unsealed one. Out of stock. Yeah.
Yeah, the Lily Go that I just put the site out for also makes pendants that go around your neck, and they make a watch. The watch is $35, but it's an ESP32. There are other ones that are cheaper.
Are there any like Wi-Fi panic buttons that hook into a app? That runs on a Raspberry Pi?
I'm sure there are, but it's
There you go. You know those remember when Amazon had those buttons that you could press to order some more like
Yeah,
bounty
the
or something?
dash button.
Dash. Yeah, you get one of those in each pocket, and then like they each so you can press the right button or the left button to do different things. You get two buttons.
Yep, that's an idea.
Just enter if you're going into your own Wi-Fi, you can hack the DNS and make it try to send it to capture whatever it's sending.
You can make a capacitive touch switch also. So you can leave it in your pocket and wave your hand over your pocket, depending on how you adjust the sensitivity.
The medical alert buttons on Amazon are pretty expensive. And you have
I'm
to
sure
call,
you're paying for the you're paying for the FDA approval on those things.
Yeah.
it's a LoRa watch, so you could send messages over a long distance.
I don't need to do very long.
But it's also very low power.
So those Simply Safe alarm systems, right? You can get door open close sensors that have a little magnet
Yep.
or something. They're pretty cheap. All right. Any other ideas for cheap buttons? I like the dash one. I have one. I think I have one extra dash button available. I think Pete Soper had a couple more.
Well, you want to get really wacky, you can just put a camera on your score thing and then like make up funny poses that you do for your input. So you can do a little dance after every point just to like tell it what to score.
Just gesture recognition.
Exactly.
Either an X or an O or something, right? With your arms.
Yep, or get more creative, just make the people watching wonder what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Or
That takes a little bit more number crunching.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
trying to do that to make it. Go ahead.
But these are real simple neural networks that we're talking about here. Only two answers. You know, a 1-bit answer, either a yes or a no. So it's all about the training data, I guess, how to collect enough training data.
Well, and I mean, you can do transfer learning, but there's also a thing called POSNet, which is which you can download, and it is already trained to recognize people, or there's or a lighter one that recognizes a person and outputs a vector of like head and limb vectors and all that.
There's a ring, rechargeable ring for like $30. No, yeah, 30. No, how much was it? You could just use the date on the ring.
I'm getting a Ring doorbell. No, I don't want a Ring doorbell. Is it Wi-Fi or is it?
I don't know.
Mobile?
It says it's rechargeable, so it's the ring is
So this is a smart ring from Walmart for $9.
I had no idea what they do.
Right. Radio frequency communication. Water resistant, and it has an app. Interesting. No power supply.
I found one. I'd paste in the chat here once I type it into this other computer.
This Walmart has a Muslim prayer counter, which is a little ring that no, it's not Wi-Fi. Oh, no, it's Bluetooth. I mean, this is
This is good.
Muslim prayer counter has buttons to go, I guess, up and it's Bluetooth.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think you have to be Muslim to buy one.
Okay.
but that's that's the whole thing that
Pretty cool.
I'm sure there are cheaper ones. Runs for 3 days, Bluetooth.
Yeah,
What more could
yeah.
you want?
I know. $36. You gotta hack into it somehow.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could just take that and either your tablet, if it's depending on how it views in the sunshine, and just you hook that into hook that into a tablet.
Yeah. Right. Other ideas? Which is great. All right. I guess we'll do show and tell. Does anyone have anything they want
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I got the smart Spark Fun box. They have the box sale, and it was kind of interesting. You pay, I don't know, $25 or something, and they give you a pound of something. And I don't know. Some people just got like a bunch of passives. I don't know. I got a Jetson Nano, which seems to work, and so I feel like I got my money's worth if I was gonna ever buy one of those, because they're like cost more than $25. And a couple other things I really don't know what they are. And I need to pull those out. They're I think there were some kind of old short range wireless communication thing or something. But plus a little wooden wheel, I guess, to go on a robot. It's kind of funny.
One.
Yeah, one wooden wheel. It was like a you know those kits that you kind of punch the wood out and fit it together. It kind of seemed like someone had made it from that. I don't know.
Okay. Die cut plywood or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I've seen those in plexiglass.
Pete was had talked about doing a demonstration of the ESP C32 running JTAG, but he had some issues that I think took him away from that.
All right. Well, we'll do that in the coming months, probably. I look forward to when we can demo the Edger hardware at one of these meetings.
Yeah, Pete's been doing most of the hardware. I've got his various versions. I just today got the automatic recognition of however many boards you have out there inside of the aardvark code, so you don't have to put in anything at the moment. It configures itself. It was kind of a little tricky, but we got there. So that's there's a Nix Edger repository or something out there which has my sort of daily or whatever backups, which is inherently unstable. But Pete is going to split that off and do a latest release, which hopefully will be slightly more stable. And so when I reach an epoch of an important point, I'll let it out there. But once I've got this in the code, it's it configures itself, which makes everything a lot easier. You still have to put in the SSID and password, but apart from that, it can be relatively hands off. And I need to work on something else.
Why? I'm curious. Why did they change the name? Was there some conflict there?
I don't know why they changed the name.
Yeah.
It's there are. I will wake up.
If you go to GitHub and search for Quarkus, you get like 135 hits. So
Okay.
there are that many things that have Quarkus as part of their name.
Oh,
And so
gotcha.
they wanted something that was a little bit less well used.
Yeah, but the thing is that people are not going to be doing a search for Quarkus. They're going to know the project exists and get the URL to GitHub. So it really didn't matter at all as far as I'm concerned. And
I woke up one morning and there were like 110 messages back and forth, and I don't read the messages, and
yeah,
so it's I it's you can call it anything you want to.
the
I'll just change the name and the code. I don't
well,
care.
that's easy for you, but if you have a pull request on the old one, changing the name completely screws up your pull
I
request.
understand that. It's
And I
that's
had one, so it kind of
that's why I don't.
peed me
That's
off.
why I don't care. I put stuff in Nick's edgy repository or whatever it is, and it's
And
name.
somebody else takes care of it for you.
Somebody else can name it anything they want to, and if I start arguing about what you're going to name it, then it's. I code it. That's enough. You can name it whatever you want to. Have blue boards, white boards, pink boards. I don't care. Just
Did
give
you
me
have
whatever you
anything?
got.
I was just curious about the boards. Did you guys make some boards for the
Yeah,
stuff?
Pete
He
made
did.
some. Pete did a layout. We've got a couple of them. Those are referred to as the blue boards. He then at the presentation had people build these, which are he calls the whiteboards, which are the 32C3s and a dialogue board on them. And
So do y'all?
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just curious. Does he or did y'all do board design professionally, or like how do people like know how to design these boards?
Well,
Um,
a
I
lot of
can't.
the
Yeah,
people in this group can do board design.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Some of
done
us
it.
are just
Paul's
lucky.
done it. Pete's done it.
I've done it. It's there's a
Yeah.
program called Eagle, which is sort of the standard, and there's a free version that does small boards, and for like $20 a month, they give you the one that does bigger boards, and there are a couple other programs out there that are free.
KeyCard.
Yeah, I downloaded KiCad.
Yeah,
KiCad.
that's the one I
Um,
use. It does any size board you want. It's totally free.
yeah, it's I've just used Eagle because I've always used Eagle, and that's um, and there's a OS
Yeah, so
Parts.
I don't
What's that?
think any of us who are on this group have done professionally written board layout. But we know some of the issues, and we know people who have, and we've been lucky with our design working because they're not all that high frequency.
Yeah. Okay. I have a project I keep wanting to get back to, and I think I showed it. I came to a meeting one time in Raleigh at NC State and brought this phone that I was hacking and tearing the insides out And then I had another iteration where I bought a little SLIC chip so I could just plug a phone into it and do the thing without tearing the phone apart. And yeah, I was thinking about making a board to plug that into, and it'd be very simple, but.
Well, there's a company, OS Parks, I think that's the name.
Oshpark, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
That they are cheap and they'll do 3 boards and it it's so this don't do a 4-layer board, don't do a 6-layer board, just do a 2-layer board, ship it out, get it back, and play with it.
Yeah. I use a company in Hong Kong, but
yeah, it's there.
One of these days I'll just do one and see what it's like, and then go from there.
yeah, they're easier than you think. It's not a big deal to design a board and get them made.
Yep.
Used to be 15 years ago, 10 years ago, but not now.
Let's see. I've got a oh, that's it. I have a 32-bit A to D converter that I'm hooking into a Raspberry Pi. It's not the I mean, 32 bits is like 8.5 digits, which is ridiculous. I think these are more, in practical purposes, more like 24 bits. There's a chip that Analog Devices does that probably will actually do 32 bits, but it's a $70 chip, and I'm not in. I don't need the last noise bits quite yet, but that's still a breathtaking amount of resolution.
And is this all so you can read low voltages?
Yeah, I want to for my famous microscope that I'm just doing the last PC board on. Yeah, I've got to read very, very low voltages at ridiculously low currents. You're looking at on the order of 5 and 10 femtoamps, which is 10 to the minus 15 amps, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're looking
So,
at the
so
tunnel
it's
current.
not really. It's not a DC offset. Like
You're looking for change, so you're moving the probe, and I'm not. I have no. I'm not looking for hard DC voltages, and I'm not looking for absolute accuracy. I'm looking for changes, and
right.
it's the front end is, I say, down in the femtoamps, and that has to be. It's got no bias current. That's kind of specialized, but the A to D converter, I just if I'm going to put in a lot of effort into the thing, it can be nice to have a really top notch. There's a design out of CERN, which is Curious Mac and a couple other sites have done it, and it will give you a real 32 bits. But you've got to use good PC boards and Rogers. I think it's class 5000. It's a whole bunch of to get that kind of ridiculous resolution. It requires the height of ridiculousness. So yeah, the preamp for that's a 4-level, uses a some guard rings and all of that stuff to get that kind of bias current.
All right. Anything else going on? I've been doing welding and metalworking.
I may be taking some Tai Chi classes in January and February, but outside of that,
What you
Well,
welding?
excuse me?
I was just wondering what he was welding.
Oh,
What Paul was welding. Are you making your
I'm
frame to
taking
drag
a
your horse thing
continuing-
around? Oh, sorry.
I'm taking continuing education welding class at Durham Tech. And what I'm taking now is called product fabrication. And each student started off by welding up a jig for bending metal around the pipe. And then we use that to make stools, three-legged stools. I have pictures, but I don't think I have any way to show pictures.
do you get access to the milling machines and the lathes and all of that stuff if you join?
You get access to the welding equipment, the oxyacetylene torch and the plasma cutter and the welders, and the machining stuff is in a different building under a different set of instructors. So the answer to your question is no.
Okay.
And then, so after everybody did the stool, then you could do your own individual project. And I built a small outfeed stand for my horizontal bandsaw. And then my next and last project is going to be an aquarium stand for my son.
Your son lives in an aquarium?
sounds kind of
Yeah.
fishy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next spring I'll be taking TIG welding. I've already taken MIG and stick.
Any
Pig?
thought of getting a machine?
Pig welding? PIG?
Yep.
PIG, tungsten inert gas.
Ah,
It has a little
okay.
tungsten rod, and it pumps argon around it to shield away from the oxygen. And TIG welding is very clean, very, very little spatter. MIG welding is much dirtier, and stick welding is very dirty. You have to hammer
What's the
off
difference?
slag.
What's the difference in strength? Or are they kind of equal in all of that, in that?
They're probably pretty much equal. It depends on what filler material you're using.
And how good you are.
The strength is pretty much similar. If you have to go out at a construction site and fix a bulldozer, you're going to be using stick welding, right? Because the gas that you need for MIG or TIG is this huge bottle, and any breezes will blow the gas away and mess up your weld.
So your environment is different for each one. Okay.
And it's you can do some stuff like aluminum with TIG. Not sure you can do it with you can't do it with stick welding. You can braze with stick welding or oxyacetylene, but you can't do you can't actually, as far as I understand, do
Yeah, I have done MIG aluminum. It requires a normal MIG setup has a spool of wire in the machine, and it pushes the wire down the hose, if you will, to the handset, and that can be, 10 or 12 feet. But the aluminum wire is not stiff enough to be pushed that far, and so they moved the spool of wire up to the handheld part. And so it's called a spool gun. The spool stays with the handle, and so then you only have to push it 6-8 inches or so. So you can do that. You can definitely do TIG with aluminum. Stainless steel is great with TIG. Yeah, so no, I don't plan on getting a machine because I don't want to have to set up an environment in which it's safe to weld. I can't do it in my garage. There's so much stuff around that's flammable. I'd have to pull it out and do it in my driveway or something. So I'll just, if I want to do welding, I'll go to Shop Space, the maker space in Raleigh. They do blacksmithing and welding, and have a CNC plasma table for cutting shapes out of metal. And they're looking at getting some machining equipment, some mills and lathes. So I'll have pictures next month for you.
So do I have anything else?
All right, well, short month. Short meeting this month.
And we'll do it again in the future.
We'll see you next month. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and start getting ready for Christmas, I guess.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Catch y'all later.
I'm going to kill the recording.
Thank you, Carl.